What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Pastor Coco, the Subpar Summoner. Welcome to the debut episode of the Summoner Circle. Got a motley crew of individuals joining me tonight. The lore master, champion predictor extraordinaire, JX.
Hello.
Former co-host of the Raft podcast, KB.
Hello.
Okay,
Being JX already.
He can hear me, so that's good. And the prince of positivity himself, Knullspace.
How everybody doing?
What's up, guys?
Dude,
Hey, how's it going?
exciting, man.
We
I
are
like the prince of
excited.
positivity.
It's a good
He's
one.
like the most positive person in the community, for
Dude,
real. Like
Peace,
it's
love, and
awesome.
positivity, man. So we
You
love.
gotta be. Gotta be.
So, welcome. We're glad to have everybody joining us, whoever's out there. And hopefully, we'll pick up some more people as we go. This was just kind of an idea that came together really quickly the last couple of weeks to bring a new podcast to the community. It's kind of an area that's been missing for a little bit. I definitely grew my love of the game from listening to Dragon and Royal and all those folks on the unofficial MCOC podcast several years ago. So, and then spent some time with Sinister Minister doing Pastors Assemble for a year or two. Had a blast doing that. So when I got asked to be a part of this, I was like, yeah, let's do it. So glad to have you guys together. So what do we want to talk about? We want to start with Blobgate. I mean, we got
So
my
we're gonna
goodness.
try. I think the way we should start this very quickly is just to specify that this is going to be a very MCOC and Marvel and like just the community at large. So while you think that's going to be locked into this game, we're definitely looking forward to Kinship coming out, and we're going to be doing a lot of conversations about that as more information is coming out. And you know, we're really here to just communicate with you guys our love for this game. So I think definitely let's start right off on what's the big deal right now, and how do you think he got knocked out so easily? I know he was your big pick.
I think honestly, like, I think it's one of those things where people probably like said, "Well, I don't have to vote because, of course, Blob's gonna win," and then enough people did that like it just didn't happen, Like, and I'll be honest, like, because I've had real life going on, I didn't vote the last couple of rounds because I just forgot to do it, like, because I haven't been in game as much, and y'all, for anyone that doesn't know, my wife passed away a month ago, and so her memorial's this weekend, and so I've been kind of out of it a little bit, and I haven't been playing MCC as much. I've just been kind of chilling, and this week I've been consumed by Final Fantasy 14, honestly. And so like I didn't vote in the last couple of rounds just because I totally forgot that the votes were going on, and I kind of had that outlook like, well, Blob will probably win anyway because he's clearly the most like well-known character out of all the ones that were in the vote. But he's also, because of that, I also think there was probably a lot of sentiment of, well, he'll probably get in the game anyway because he's not like the other characters in that vote. Like he's a very well-known character. And I don't know anything about Shathra, and I don't know a ton about Black Tarantula, but I'm not like super mad about it. I really would have rather had Blob than anybody else in that vote, but I mean, I'm not like terribly upset that it's not happening right now,
Definitely. Well, I have a question for you, KB. Actually, I want to ask you real fast. Do you think, based off of Mike's tweet about a week ago, saying that unlike previous votes where we knew that there was one that was probably more popular than the other ones, but we all felt that there's a good chance at least 2 or 3 will show up in the contest at some point. He made a point of putting out a tweet saying specifically that's not the case this time. And
Mm.
that because these choices were less popular, then they chose specifically to pick, not huge names, no Hercules or Gladiator, even Kushala, who, while not a huge name, iconic and very important for
Yeah.
the story. Do you think we're looking at a situation where we will see Blob, or do you think maybe no?
Yeah, I think so. I think they purposely, because I mean I'm not as lore focused as you guys. I don't know everything about all these champs, but I was familiar with Blob, and I think their goal of finding obscure characters, for the most part, 7 of the 8 or whatever are pretty obscure. But then there was Blob, and then Team Blob was loud and proud on Twitter and
Sure.
or X rather, probably all social media. Everybody wanted Blob. Everybody knew about Blob. And I think that probably is a little bit surprising. And they know they got a little gold mine, down the road.
Oh, definitely. If we're looking financials, I would have to agree with you. I think
Yeah.
that
I
could
don't.
be
I don't think
so.
that tweet. I don't think that tweet was referencing. I don't see that happening. I think Blob is coming eventually.
Yeah, it's a
I do
popularity
too. I just
contest. At the end of the day, like it's just we'll get these characters eventually. It's just like popularity wise, who comes first? Who wins comes first.
Which I think it's kind of cool that 2 of the obscure ones actually are in the finals because
Yeah.
that is
Unexpected.
that is not what it looked like was going to happen. They
Yeah.
announced, Blob plus 7 random characters.
So I'm going to be honest. I'm not huge on either of these two. Like, I don't know a lot. And I think we do happen to have a
Ooh.
lore master around, right? So
Hey, man.
Jay,
I got the books. I got them ready. Who do you guys want
so
to go first?
I would like.
This would
I'd
be
like
our
to start.
first edition of. No, you came up with the name. You want to
No,
tell
please,
everybody.
please, Pastor,
So
please go.
this will be the first edition of Legion's Library.
Oh, dude, I love that name, man. I
ahead.
love it, dude. I love that man. Like, oh.
I've still got to find I gotta make like a theme screen to like slot into the video right there when I say it.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
I gotta get like an
Just try to
animated
do it
like
real quick.
GIF that shows up Legion's library, dazzling his
Oh,
hands.
so
Oh,
cool.
hey mummy, when you see this, we need that.
Yes.
I'll message mummy and be like, hey, we need this, please. Either one.
All right,
I
Shathra.
don't know anything of either, so
All
I'm
right.
interested.
So
Who's in charge?
Shathra's got some more lore to her, just the way they set her up coming into the
Okay.
comics.
Yeah.
So she's a deity from Earth 001. And basically, she was in charge. She's the daughter of Gaia. So if you know about Greek mythology, so she's a deity. She was charged with kind of making the multiverse, but her sister finds something. She finds a flaw, and so she loses that position. And her sister makes the web of destiny, the life of destiny. Life and destiny. You guys know it from Spider-Man comics.
Right.
So she becomes greed filled, jealousy, and black just comes all around her skin. That's why she looks the way she does in that picture. And so she becomes the spider wasp, totem bearer. And so her powers basically now have to, these spider wasp fangs coming out of her wings to fly, teleport. She really just kind of starts like hunting down Spider-Man, and she just messes with Spider-Man, shapeshifts into like pretending to be his ex-lover and exposing him on social media basically. So she's definitely a Spider-Man villain, and she can do this really cool thing where her venom that she has can corrupt spider people, and their totems will now be converted into wasp totems. So I can definitely see why they went the mystic route. I would have thought cosmic, but talking about that corruption aspect of a character's kit seems very valid that they chose mystic for her class. But that's pretty much it to her. If I missed anything, just let me know.
Okay. Well, no, that's actually really interesting. So you're saying corruption. So
Mm-hmm.
we already have a corruption debuff in the game. It's beyond null. So it is a debuff that already exists. It would be cool if it's something that maybe that's actually really cool. They could do something really cool with that, like make it affect spiders and like a evade.
Yeah.
Very cool. What a cool, interesting character. I've heard also it has something to do with the inheritors. Moreland?
Yeah, because basically in her thing, like Moreland shows up because like he's also from Earth One, and so
Hmm.
it really has to do with that. The whole life of Web and Destiny, Web of Life and Destiny, it has to do with that whole thing. So it really fits like 2002, and setting
That's
that story
very
up.
exciting. That's very exciting, actually, because that opens up a lot of different characters. If we happen to be able to see her enter the contest, that opens a lot of connections. Kind of makes that who's beside in that empty spot on the next map very interesting. So that'd be very
I wonder
exciting.
if
I
she
think
would
that's
have
a
a
very cool.
cool. I wonder if she'd have like a cool interaction with Spidey Supreme since he uses spider totems. You know,
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
he converts them to wasp totems.
dude.
Well,
Very cool.
Exactly.
it would also be interesting because since the majority of the spider people are science,
Hmm.
Mhm.
and she's gonna be mystic, but I feel like they'll have to have something that counters Spider Verse champs.
I think she
Yeah.
breaks
So
the
you'll
rule.
Yeah,
so
breaks the
you'll have a mystic that will be strong against science champs. It
Mhm.
feels
Yeah,
like anyway.
I
reverse
mean that
class.
makes sense.
That'd be kind of a cool little thing to have. So
That's actually really makes a lot of sense because other character like another character that has corruption actually work like Null has the ability to work well against mystics. There's not a lot of buffs that come up,
Hmm.
executes its damage through bleeds, and they're passive, they're coming off insta bleeds. There's not a
yeah,
lot, and also affects power gain through corruptions. So there's a lot of
yeah. So
breaks the rule, so she could
yeah,
actually do that.
those kind of champs are always fun. Where
Ooh.
even against class disadvantage, they do all right. Those are kind of fun. So
Okay, I did
That's
forget
very
one thing that
what's
both of
up?
them actually share. They're both when we get to Black Trencher, they're both technically immortal. So we'll have to think about that.
Oh, I don't think they're going to make that mistake again, guys.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to
Not
happen.
not exactly the same
Is
as
it?
they did
Well, I
before.
guess we'll
Let's
get
put it
into
that
it.
way.
I mean, it is a Summoner Choice champion, though. Don't forget that.
Yeah, bring it back.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll move on to Black Tarantula real quick. So he is a very he's a very easy character to understand because there's not too much to him. He's basically kind of like a mobster. He's from Argentina, so he's an Hispanic dude. So pretty awesome from South America. Has a life of crime and gang wars and stuff. But Black Tarantula is really something that's been passed down through generations, through mystic means. So he'll pass it down to his son, and etc. And that's kind of been happening on for 700 years. So that immortality comes from that. The comics don't really explain it, but it does give him laser eyes. So that's very interesting. But the majority of his powers are skill based. So he
Laser eyes.
hand to hand combat with laser eyes, really. So skill was my choice for him, and he basically hunted down Spider-Man, ripped off his mask, defeated him, and left. It was like a Bane moment, where he just shows up, beats Batman. It really feels that way. He was part of some Daredevil comics, which I knew him from. And there was this really cool moment where he's dealing with someone who worked for him, and that person killed an old lady, was paid to do it. And so he takes that cash that person got from receiving it and stuffed him with it to death. And then, yeah, Daredevil shows up. He one hits Daredevil, who was suffering from the flu, and then he heals him after he defeated Daredevil in one hit. You would not expect that. And so he's a hero nowadays. So not in a crime lord fashion. So, yeah, I think skill is definitely deserved. And it's honestly, I'm very a skill-based character with laser eyes. I'm very interested to see, and a sort of immortality. See how that goes.
I see a special one, Hyperion, special one kind of
Yeah.
just zzz, and that's the laser eyes kind of thing. Unless they go deep in that, but I mean, they could use that kind of like Cyclops, where it's a lot of his specials are just the beams coming out.
We'll say Cyclops has laser eyes. I made that mistake.
Optic
No,
beams.
they're actually from.
Force beams.
Are we still going by the whole they're coming from an alternate reality?
I don't like that. I don't like that.
It's a horrible idea, but I love. Oh yeah, they're force. They're pure force. It's very cool.
There's no shortage of
pure
horrible
concussive
ideas
force.
if you look at Marvel comics.
Hey, isn't this LJ texted me about Black Tarantula? Isn't he super tall, 6'8" or something?
Dude, he's a big dude.
I think he's really big.
I'll find the
He shoots
exact.
webs out of his butt, I heard.
I still don't know where that spider butt thing.
The
came
booty
from.
web thing?
Yeah.
I still don't know where that came from. But,
He's 7 foot. Wow.
Yeah.
7
7
foot.
foot, yeah, he's massive.
So I had totally forgotten about him until Eclipse mentioned the Daredevil from Brubaker's run earlier,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. So yeah, I'm Team Black Tarantula now.
So
Okay.
I'm just joking. I'm good with either one of them, honestly.
Yeah, I felt
I think they'd both be really cool. So
that seems like it would be something significant if it's something that that's a very big fight. So is that an extra large champ?
I think so.
Would he be XL with 7 foot?
I hope so.
XL is a very interesting decision, though. All of a sudden, because we
That's
don't
also
have a
possible.
ton, and it's a skill extra large, which
I think so.
We have Mole
we don't
Man.
have a. We don't have a ton though. Otherwise, so it's
Man and is Kingpin? Is Kingpin extra large? Or is he
Oh,
just
yeah,
large?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
XL.
yeah,
Big old
he's
guy.
XL. Yeah. So I
So
mean,
maybe just the two of them skill wise.
Just the 2 of us.
so that's adding another form of in-game utility. It's a very interesting.
Kingpin and Mole Man.
little
Only
thing.
XL skills.
It really just depends. Like, there's some champs that definitely look like they should be that aren't
Yeah.
looking.
Yes.
Especially the female champs.
Looking at you, Proxima.
Yep,
looking at you.
exactly.
One of the tallest champs in the game. Small.
I mean, and also in the comics, she's literally like the giant woman. She's fantastic. Black Order is one of my favorite things still.
Oh, dude.
They need more.
Like this
We've
Bart
spoken
said,
about that,
my
yeah.
Hispanic herc is tall AF.
I know,
Hispanic herc. I like
I was
that.
gonna say something about that. It's cracking me up in the chat.
Somebody in the CCP said it looks like Night Thresher had a really bad day.
Yeah.
Described Black Tarantula.
Dude, it's like Night Thrasher and Bane like combined together.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
make sure when you're researching everybody that you don't confuse Black Tarantula with all the
other
characters in Marvel also named Tarantula.
Dude.
Because there's at least 2 or 3 more. So.
Yep.
and that's just Marvel. And then you go into DC, and I think they've got like 4 or 5 over there too.
Yeah,
It's a popular name. So I mean, personally, as Coco just said, I'm pretty good with either. Like personally, I think they both sound really interesting. I had my own preference, and she didn't make it through, and that's fine, and I'm fine with it, and everything's fine about it. But also, I'm just really excited. Both of them sound really unique. They seem like. I think that Tarantula will be a more straightforward champion when it comes to he's going to deliver what he's set out to do. But I think that if we get Shathra,
Shathra.
did I get it right? Shathra. If we get her, I think honestly that's a much more. I think we're looking at something similar to like a it was said earlier, but like a Mystic Spidey. I think we're looking at something that doesn't play the way the class maybe plays normally, doesn't do what we're expecting, but is very unique and has a lot of cool takes. So I guess I kind of have one I'd be more interested in seeing, but I'm really
I feel the same way you do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if Tarantula is our first champ that we can heal other teammates with.
That finally being a thing.
No, if he has that. If
That'd be really cool.
Murdoch in one hit and then turn around and healed him up and was like,
Dude.
my bad, bro.
Yeah.
Why can't we do that with our other teammates? Just do like a pre-fight. You build up charges.
Pre-fight, yeah.
Use a pre-fight. Or I guess it wouldn't be a pre-fight. Maybe it is. I don't really know.
Yeah.
You build up charges and you spin them.
Well, I mean, I could see it building like a pre-fight, kind of like you build up charges for Mapaw's Horseman charges, and then
like
you
White
throw
Mag.
it down on a nod, and then on a node at that point, you get it puts a regen or something up. You can see that being very cool. I absolutely have no chance it's going to happen. They're nerfing revives. They're not going to give you free heals.
I know. It's man.
I mean, it's already in the game. APOC heals if he sits out fights, so you could
Slumber.
Could do do a pre-fight that does the same thing,
Yeah, crossfight as well, like
or
Wong. I
like a
see MK
crossfight
talking
type
about it.
thing or whatever.
Be very
So
cool.
it'd be an interesting thing.
I could see
So
it
no,
becoming
you
very
were
far.
talking about how your pony didn't make it, but that's a good place we could transition, because Null doesn't care that his pony didn't make Summoner's Choice, because we got another announcement this week that Null is over the moon about. So you wanna hit up what the other announcement was we got this week?
Absolutely. So we all received a mail, and in this mail, we had a great piece of information. A champion that I've been secretly and not so secretly at times uh, awaiting and hoping, and she's not the most popular character. She's been in the comics for years, but Dust, and we're also getting Riri Williams, which is like amazing. That's going to be definitely some kind of crazy tech utility champ and a new mutant. Like we're getting another mutant, and it's Dust, and Dust is going to be everything Sandman is, just way scarier, in my opinion, because she's so scary. And I personally would love right now if Jay gives us a quick little jump into what he has for us on Dust.
Dude, Dust, I is very niche character. I don't like. I didn't remember her, and until like I was researching, I was like, oh yeah, because she was recently in a Legion comic from Way of X a couple years ago. She was like controlling the sandstorms of Mars, which if you think about, some the most deadly storms of all time are on Mars. So that's just incredibly power scaling. But unlike Sandman, where Sandman compact and sand and like brute forcing with sand, she's really more into the Dust aspect. She can make you suffocate, which is extremely scary. She can like abrase your skin off to bone. Scary, like she is very powerful and deadly. And yeah, dude, like her story is awesome. Um, She's gonna be in the mutant class, which I love mutants, man. I think most of us do here. So it's just amazing to see another mutant in the game. The second Muslim character in the game, the first one that has a full hijab and the full outfit. So that's just awesome for representation for the game. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, so exciting. You talking about the abrasing the skin off. Legitimately, that's one of the things I remember the most about her as a character is just, I live in Canada. We have snow. We don't have a lot of sand. There's not a lot of sand. And, I've traveled, but I don't spend a lot of time in a place that has, sandstorms. And I know that there are people that do. I didn't see how scary sand could be until I saw Dust. And then, yeah, Sandman, big fists. It's
Yeah.
not that scary. But sand filling your lungs is terrifying. And Dust has done that. So,
SP3 animation.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I'm excited for it.
yeah, it's very exciting. I was wondering, Coco, do you have any ideas what they might be doing with the kid? I know that nothing's been seen, so do you have any rough ideas of what you think that might happen?
Well, I specifically did not look at her spotlight, even though I could have, so that I could speculate without,
Mm-hmm.
breaking embargo rules.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like we're gonna have some. We kind of know what some of the animation stuff will look like because we've seen Sandman, even though she can be even more, like in incorporeal, I guess is how you would say it. Like she can basically turn into a cloud of dust. I I'd be shocked if there was certain things that are not included just because of the nature of her kit. Like I feel like my least favorite thing in the entire game will probably show up in the kit, and I promise I'm not that's not me revealing that it is, but I just imagine that glancing has a high probability of being a part of it just
Yeah, I can see
because
that.
I mean we're talking about somebody that literally turns into a cloud of dust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kabam, if you could work on the champ that counters glancing anytime real fast, I'd
Hmm.
appreciate it. Um, I brought that up in DLL. Was like, well, so and so's is like this, and you just counter with this. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, I realize there are ways DLL, but I want a direct counter. Like Bullseye should have been a direct counter to glancing. I'm sorry. Bullseye doesn't miss.
Yeah. No.
He
no,
should
that
have been a direct counter to glancing.
I think Bullseye should have been just direct counter to all of those mechanics. Yeah.
No shame towards you, Eclipse. I love your champs. Bullseye's awesome, but I think you should have directly countered glancing. That's just my opinion.
Eclipse always has some great ideas, and I'm sure Kavan were like, nope, can't do that. Your comic knowledge is too big. We can't balance this in game.
I mean, yeah.
I love him so much.
Dude.
He's so great.
I told him he's my favorite when we met him in Vancouver.
Him and DLL are my two favorite champ designers right now. And Niv, of course, because Niv made Psycho Man.
Niv's great.
Who made Knull?
Who made Knull?
I don't remember.
I'll look it up. I know the answer.
I was gonna say Jay has a list of the people that we know for sure. I can't remember.
That's my favorite.
I can't remember who made Knull off the top of my head.
Knull's the reason I made an effort to be involved, because I was just so happy, and I was like, this game is made for me. They know me. So I definitely think that we're going to be looking at. Well, there you go.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
I was like, I know Marcus Pack did a video with Coop.
Coop has made some good champs too. So I can't remember who the other ones are off the top of my head at the moment, but I know that there was a few really good ones.
I mean, I'll get to it in a little bit, but Knull's the most perfectly designed champ in the game, and I'll get to it in a minute. But I personally want to say, I think for just rough my predictions on Kit, because I don't know anything, I'm going to say Dust has stackable bleeds, definitely. I think we're going to be looking at. I think we're looking at suppression of some sort, which is a debuff they don't use a lot. But I think that it could be because we're going to be looking at Sandman putting up other debuffs, and I know that we don't have a ton of mutant debuff stackers, but I could see that being like, we have single debuffs, but not like a variety.
Yeah,
I could see that being an interesting champ to pair with the Despair Mastery for mutants, which currently there's not a great viable target for that. So, and like if there is, it's Onslaught, and Onslaught doesn't need it. So, yeah, that's my little kick.
Wolverine can stack bleeds. By golly.
He sure does. Doesn't need Despair. He can bleed it. But
I think. Well, and I think that her being able to take advantage of the Despair Mastery makes sense, like from a lore standpoint. Being able to, it's kind of the idea of like suffocating somebody out.
Yeah, wearing you down and taking you down. Yeah.
So I wouldn't be mad about that.
I think it makes sense.
I gotta be honest, I'm just as excited about Ironheart. I know that people were like, no, we don't want another Iron Man character, but like, I thought she stole the show in, was that Wakanda Forever?
Yes.
She was, right?
Yeah.
I thought she stole the show. I thought she was probably my favorite part of that movie, and I loved the movie, but
dude, her and Namor.
I loved Ironheart. I thought she was awesome. So I'm actually really excited about her coming to the game. And I remember when she was normally, but yeah.
I remember the first time I heard she was coming in and how that happened. And it was like a big conk moment that had preceded it. And it became a kind of was a very interesting take on a character. And I think that in a lot of ways for comic book people, if you read it, I think you like her at this point. Like, I think she's earned her way into your heart. Like, you've seen her grow as a character and the things she's been involved in. And she really stands independently of Tony. But generally, I think she's going to be fantastic. I really hope they do something unique with her. I think that will be the key of making her really, really win over the large community that we have, is that we just need something a little more unique than the average suit of armor. But that suit of armor should be different, because, as Jay's going to say, she built it, not Tony. Yeah. So, Jay, you want to give a little deep dive into what we got for her?
Yeah, dude. Ironheart, someone I predicted like every year for like the past 2 years.
Thanks again.
Yeah, man. I knew she was coming, dude. I knew she was coming. Like, she lost the first vote, right? But I was like, dude, how popular she's been. But yeah, so Riri is a super genius. She's a super genius. She was at MIT. She kind of like took some parts from old Iron Man suits, made her own suit, her prototype suit. Tony kind of like endorsed her. Before he was presumed dead, he showed up. He's like, oh, I endorse you, and kind of helped her out. And then when he was, dead, she kind of like inherited stuff, and she started building her own suits with that. And she became Ironheart, and she got the name because there was a tragic accident in a drive-by where she lost her friend and her stepdad, and her friend got shot in the heart, and Ironheart. A really cool thing I didn't know about until like I was rereading her stuff. But yeah, so she built her own suit. There's a couple things different about it that I think I'm hoping Kabam, like you mentioned, like we have so many Iron Man variants, we have so many Spider-Man variants. How does the next one? How does it get into the upper echelon of what are we getting as a playable character? I'm excited to see.
Do you think that we're going to be seeing more of a, because the image we're getting shows a comic, a very comic Riri in Riri's armor there, Ironheart armor.
Love that suit.
Do you think? I mean, it's a really cool looking suit. It's so sleek, and I love the colors. Like, it's really it's so different than what you normally see in that from like the suit of armor. So it's really cool. I was wondering though, do you think we're going to be seeing, like in the comics, her suit of armor is repulsors, and like she's able to create and add. But do you think we're going to be looking at more of like the kit? Do you think we're going to be seeing something similar to what we've seen already with like maybe like a Cap Falcon? Do like more of a unique, specialized, takes down like prowess champs and is like a war design champ? Or do you think she's going to be more broadly used in like story content, questing? Do you think she's going to be a niche that like is going in to take out, maybe she's the one that takes out Daunted, like who knows what we're looking at? So like, is that her? Or do you think she's going to come in with like, the usual setup, just maybe something plasma and this and that there,
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I don't know, because like both of those make sense going both ways, because I feel like they're gonna target something that they haven't done with the Iron Man so far. They're gonna give us something new that we haven't gotten, and I feel that could go into the niche category of like countering this. Like maybe she like repairs her suit, helping out, fixing that. Her AI could help out. I don't know.
Yeah, some pre-fights.
I think that that'd be very cool. She did some pre-fights with the AI, and it kind of works similar maybe to Centurion, maybe brings in something a little bit like the drones. That might be very, very cool.
She's also like more about like flight, like compared to like regular Iron Man, like with like so many different weapons and weaponry. She's like very flight oriented.
Maybe more physical charging.
Her animations have a chance to be pretty cool, I think. I'd kind of like to see, and I haven't looked at her spotlight at all, so I couldn't spoil things by accident if I wanted to, because I didn't look at hers yet. I would like to see something similar to like what Rocket has in his rework, where like she gathers like scrap metal, because she gathered different parts and built her suits and stuff. So I think a mechanic something like that would be kind of cool. I don't know whether they went that direction or not, but
that's
that would be
a really good idea.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like when I first predicted her, like reverse engineering other people's tech and whatnot, and then having
that's
a build
great
herself
idea.
up.
I think that would be pretty neat. But I'm looking forward to it, and we next week we should be able to talk about spotlights and stuff, so we can break down.
Yes.
We'll have the narrative roadmap this Friday too. So.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That might help us some with figuring out what's coming too. Is new live stream on Friday with a new. I think the rest of the first half of the year, I think, is what they're doing again for narrative roadmap.
Yes,
so
for half year.
We'll we'll have an idea, a little bit better idea of what champs are coming in the next 4 or 5 months. That'll be a lot of fun. We can break that down next week too. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think that's going to be very exciting to be able to look in a little closer, get to discuss the kits and what we're going to be looking at a little bit going forward. I think that's going to be very exciting.
Oh yeah.
And I think, if I remember correctly, I think the in-game mail said that next month's side quest is going to be encouragement based again, which
Yes.
I really enjoyed when they did that. It's the most I've played incursions in years.
It's like the first time. It
I
was the
thought it
first time
was.
we played together too. We did incursions
It
last
was,
time.
yeah. We did an incursions
Yep.
run. That's right.
Yep.
And a friendship was born.
A great friendship. Gentlemen, I have a question for you.
What's up?
What's your favorite champs,
Mhm.
and why? And also, who don't you like, and why? This is how we're going to introduce ourselves to everybody. We're going to explain what we like and what we don't like by telling you who we like and who we don't like. So, Kiggy, you want to take it?
Yeah, probably not controversial at all, and definitely doesn't need to be nerfed. Would be Hercules. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, future Ant-Man. Future Ant-Man is the bee's knees. He was kind of like a little personal redemption arc for me. When he came out, I thought he was super corny. I was like, oh, this is kind of lame. I think LJ and I even talked about it, and I was ragging on Ant-Man pretty hard. And then I don't remember whose video I watched, but I watched somebody's video on how, like, to learn how to use him. And I was like, okay. And it kind of started to grow on me. And then when I reached out to Mummy to see if he could hook me up with some of these cool graphics and stuff, which is why I'm the future Ant-Man in the Summoner Circle, we were just kind of going back and forth, and I was talking about like, the original Scott Lang, which I know isn't future Ant-Man, but he's a Florida boy. So, I was like, well, we can relate to that. We like humid, warm weather and the beaches and stuff. So, and we kind of just kept going. We figured out some good colors and stuff, and yeah, Mummy hooked it up. I fell in love with the champion. I'll admit, I didn't like him at first. I did the same with Spot. I said Spot was super corny and that he was lame, and I did apologize. I think the MCOC Instagram account actually replied to me when I made the post about Spot, and I was like, guys, I'll admit I was wrong. I'm so sorry. And they replied, and they're like, hey, it's okay. We're glad you're enjoying him. So I do that a lot. I don't give them I talk some crap beforehand, and then I get my hands on them, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is pretty good.
I just had that happen to me. I can relate. Bullseye was mine. Bullseye was mine. I get it. It's fine. Completely relatable.
So that's why I chose Fam. Also, my alliance is Fam Jam, so I didn't do that on purpose, but it worked out very well.
Yeah.
Shout out Fam Jam. And then I've seen a couple of them in the chat. And Despise. This is how I learned that Cyclops doesn't shoot laser out of his eyes, because I was quickly corrected. Cyclops said Cyclops is a badass. He shoots lasers out of his eyes. Why is he so weak in the game? And it was like force beams, bro, not lasers.
Force beams.
But Scott Summers is cool.
I just wanted you to be well informed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And if you've read any X-Men comics, Scott Summers is not cool. Scott is.
He's the opposite of cool. He literally is the opposite of
pure. Oh my gosh! Never mind. We don't have.
I thought he was cool as a kid.
We don't have time for a diatribe about Scott and all the problems that. But
as a Legion fan, yes, I agree. They got some beef in the comics.
Scott has beef with everybody.
He does.
Anyway, so you hate Cyclops. Do you hate both Cyclops? Cyclopes? Cyclopes? Cyclopes.
Cyclopi. That would be ironic if that was plural Cyclops.
I think it's Cyclops.
Cyclops and then I
I
think in Greek mythology it's Cyclopes is the actual
I think you're right.
plural,
yeah.
but that doesn't matter. He's not an actual Cyclops, so.
No.
Out the Iliad
And also, he
and the
shoots force
Odyssey.
out of it, not lasers. So that's another thing too.
I
On
learned.
that.
I learned that. Thank you guys.
We're just reminding
Yeah.
you. We don't want it to happen
Both of
again.
But he's actually channeling it from an alternate dimension or some.
There you go. I knew Jay was gonna say,
Ah, that's lame.
"Nope, he's
Lame,
not
bro.
doing that."
I get it.
When
They were
that-
trying to show off
when that-
America. I get it. I get it. But
When that came up, I was like, wait, what now?
Yeah.
That's out of left field.
and then they were like, every person who ever's had a power has their own universe, and they all pull their powers from this universe. And I'm like, okay, let's move on. Let's move on.
Yep.
Hey, they retconned America's powers and whatnot, and they retconned her origin, so they can retcon that too. So it's fine. It's fine.
I think they have retconned it already.
Yeah,
I
they
think
have.
it's been retconned into just being something he generates.
Oh my
They
god.
probably did
Because it wouldn't make sense. Also, can we just quickly discuss how that doesn't make sense? Because at that point, why would Alex have any resistance against some force from another? Like, he's resistance against force? That doesn't make
from
sense.
another
He's not,
dimension.
that's Blob or Juggernaut when he's moving. Like, that's not like skinny. The guy who's called Slim is just tanking these blasts, and like his brother, who's also fairly slender, is just tanking these blasts. And one's cosmic energy and the other one's force. No, I'm sorry. If that was force,
He'll get
Alex is
buffed.
getting splattered against a mountain.
You can buff the Cyclops when we finally get our hands on Vulcan. That'll be a good time. Yeah.
I think Vulcan's closer than you think, honestly. I think he's I don't have him this year personally, but I do think
I think
that
I think he's been talked about before personally.
our scaling is
Speaking
going off the wall, and Vulcan's coming. If Gladiator's here, Vulcan's coming.
And another Annihilators too. Like if we get Icon, Vulcan, I feel like is right around the corner.
Well, Icon comes after Beta.
Let's say, you don't think Beta Ray Bill is the Annihilator we're getting?
Beta's coming. Don't do this.
Well, no, I think Beta Ray Bill's coming for sure, but he fits like 3 synergies. He's got a Mohawk helmet.
Okay,
He's got that Vox comic. He's
yeah.
Annihilator. Like, is he gonna fit
Yeah.
all 3 synergies? Like, I was just like, for sure the Vox synergy,
That's fair.
but
That's fair.
but
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, speaking of Vulcan, I never really thought about this. I know Scott and Alex are immune to each other's. Is Vulcan immune to their powers?
Yes, and
I
they're
couldn't
not
remember if
immune
he
to his.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Lame.
I couldn't remember.
He's immune to both their powers, and they have 50% resistance against some of his powers,
Oh.
but some of his powers are not the same as others of his powers. So he messes up. Like, there's a specific comic where he really messes Alex up. Like,
yeah.
like really messes out.
It's been a while since I read some stuff.
You know what's funny? Fun
Good
fact:
series.
there are technically 2 Vulcans, because he was presumed dead. So in
Yes.
Krakoa, they resurrect him, but they because the resurrecting is technically like a clone body, but then you put the mind of a backup in there. So there's technically 2 Vulcans. So you have like Emperor Vulcan.
Which Vulcan do they have?
The clone, I guess.
But like, which one? Like the one that was kept on? Like,
Yes.
are we talking the one from Krakoa still, kind of thing?
Yeah, like the pre-Emperor is the backup that they have.
Oh, so kind of innocent, not yet.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, I can't wait till he shows up. That's gonna be devastating to this contest.
Yeah, it's really funny.
So, let's.
So, do you have any more hate you needed to share about Cyclops? KB, we kind of took off. We kind of took off running because that's what we do. But
yeah, in the words of Dave Chappelle, "You got hate in your heart, let it out." That was it. Just hate that he's so weak. He should be better. But I thought he was cool as a kid when I was reading the comics. You guys all say he's lame. I think
No. He's just not actually a cool character. Like, they make fun of him. They call him a square in the comics. Like, there are some really cool Scott Summers. There's some really cool Scott Summers moments where he like does a cool thing, but the actual character himself is like cardboard.
Yeah.
Like, he's not interesting. And the things like, and that's the joke of how all these gorgeous and powerful and dynamic women keep falling for the boring dude who's like the teacher's pet. That's the joke about
Yeah.
Cyclops in the comics more. He's a cool
Yeah,
pick. Like, I mean, he's
Boy
the leader
Scout.
of the X-Men.
Right? Isn't that what
Technically.
Wolverine calls him? Doesn't Wolverine call him Boy Scout or something like that?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I mean, and that's kind of the running joke, is he's the like lame goody two shoes guy until he's not, and then he just becomes a total d bag. But anyway,
Well,
like I said, we
yeah, I was
cannot
gonna say,
turn
why don't
into
you guys
diatribe about Cyclops. So
tell
we'll
me
save
about who
that
you
for
hate,
another
who you
episode.
love.
All right, who's next for the love you hate?
Let's go with Jay.
Okay. Dude, you know who
Jay,
I love? Dude, you guys know who I love. Man, I should have worn my Legion shirt today. Dude, my boy David Haller, Legion, man. That's who I love. All right.
Yeah.
He's not in game, but I love him.
Is that the Legion hero?
Yes,
figure?
yeah.
He's so cool
He's
looking.
so cool. Doesn't make sense why he's got the, but he's so cool. I don't care. Love it.
So I have another one that I like. It's cooler than that one. Where he's got both. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I got it right
He
here.
wasn't even hesitating. He was
Yeah.
just like, I got it.
I love him,
I
man.
like that one a lot.
Yeah, I've talked about it.
It's fun too. By the way, HeroClix did a great job. I know you may not have played.
No, I never played.
Figures, but that one with the double lightning bolt thing, they did a great job representing his power set with that particular one. It was really cool.
I have the cards somewhere. They're cool, man. I've talked about it before, but I just like him because, also he's the first X-Men to get his own show. Like, can we talk about that? Insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just relate to him a
Was he
lot.
an X-Men at that point?
X-Men character, it's fine.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, I just relate to him a lot. You know, he's someone who struggles with identity and having to struggle with these different personalities and having to struggle to do the right thing. Because he wants to do the right thing. So let me time travel, kill Magneto, solve my dad's problems. Okay, I killed my dad. Now I started Age of Apocalypse. My bad. But yeah, he had a good redemption arc in X-Men Legacy. In the Krakoan era, he's like in charge of the astral plane, making sure everyone has like a safe space to heal from mental abuse and different things. Like, they're doing such a good job with him in the comics. I've always related to him. I love the show, and I hope he comes. Like, I think he's great. And to caveat on who I hate, I know I'm not picking champions in the game because I don't really hate anyone in the game. I'm just not a person who's I don't really hate people. But I hate Franklin Richards, man. I'm sorry. I
Do
hate
you
him.
love one character who's so powerful he can alter reality?
Okay,
but
but I hate Franklin because everyone acts like he's the most powerful character ever created in all of Marvel. Like, I hate when, like, who's the most powerful? And they say Franklin. And
I mean, he is technically.
He
though.
was.
He was.
That's the big thing. He was.
Yeah, I know. He lost a lot of that. Yeah,
He has no
burned out a
powers at
lot.
the moment. He got time travel to the future one year. But, like, I think it was cool. They don't age him up. Like, Legion kind of gets aged up as he goes. Like, he was in a coma when he was a teenager. He wakes up in the hospital with his, powers, and he's, like, 10 years older. And then he's been slowly aging, give or take. But he's got the maturity of a teenager. But Franklin still is just a kid. He has black hair now. And he thought he was a mutant. He tricked the entire world to thinking he was a mutant.
I remember that.
Like, I don't know, man.
But that was a cool face-off they had there.
Yeah.
Where, like, you don't get to decide if he's coming or not.
Yeah.
That was a really cool moment.
Oh, man. I like the story where his future self shows up. That's, like, my favorite Franklin Richards thing. I love that scene. They don't ever bring it back. Never talk about it. But, yeah. But as for in-game characters, I love Aegon. I just love Gabe Frazera's design, the one arm, the champion, relating to that, always fighting. You want to be peaceful, but, how do you sacrifice your ideals? Dust is that same way, where she constantly prays after she does something so terrible and asks for forgiveness. And I like those characters that are so human, even though these are superheroes. Those are my favorite characters, and so that's my two.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome. That's like, those are really too cool. Yeah, I think just to touch on, I think that Legion, in my opinion, I think he's down the line in coming into the game.
Very difficult
I
to
think
play, though.
his power set would be really
1 million
difficult.
powers.
I think he
said
might
that,
end up being like a trophy champ would probably be the way it would be.
Yeah.
Because he could
When
beat
we
3
thought
fights.
Jay-
What's up, KB?
when we talked about Onslaught, and we were like, man, that'd be so hard to bring him to the game. Like, what would his powers be?
Yeah,
And look, they
Yeah,
dropped Onslaught, and
I
he was
gotta
a
agree, man.
beast. So we can do it. Just get
Yeah,
your boy in the
definitely.
game.
But Onslaught's powers were all telekinetic and telepathic. Like he's
on
and
such a grand
magnetism.
scale though.
Yeah, no, Jurassic scale. But when you have like the reason I say it'd be a trophy champ or something for Legion is like you literally have like a full screen of pre-fights, and like
Yeah,
each one is like the first, like your first pick, and as the fight goes, kind of like Aegon, you'd unlock a new ability or something. But it would be like I think it'd be
Cool.
like incursions, like you go through and get like
yes,
the
yeah,
just
yes.
you're picking up lightning fists and you're picking up this and buff cornucopia, and that's basically how Legion would work because as he goes he's just pulling on more of his different powers. And also I wanted to touch on
That'd be a neat concept.
what's the Legion, the one that centers around Legion, the miniseries that's really dark in the Marvel universe with the whole thing where they Cyclops is called Basilisk, and he like created the world or something.
Oh,
It's like
Age of X.
Age of X. That's a wonderful story, and it's one of the first moments where I was like, "Oh, David's such a sad character."
Hmm.
Like it really connected, and you get to see like he's just a sad kid who wants like someone to care for him, and it was really
Exactly.
beautiful. So yeah, that's a really good pick. Um, Coco, do you want to maybe touch on yours?
Sure. One more thing just about Legion real fast. Like, I
Oh
think
yeah,
it's important to remember that like it doesn't have to be like full blown. We have a million powers Legion
Hmm.
for him to come. Like
oh absolutely.
everybody said, that we'd never get Galactus either. And I know he's not here anymore, but Gabe found a way to give us Galactus without it being like, you know, the guy who swallows the actual Earth and
Yeah,
is, thousands of feet tall or whatever. Like
Absolutely.
he figured out a way to give us Galactus as a playable character. So that I'm sure that they could figure out a way with the Battle Realm lore to, whether it's a
Yeah.
slightly depowered Legion or
So
something,
wait, we can do.
some restricted stuff. I
yeah.
know it wouldn't be the same as the actual character,
I'd be fine
but
with that though.
I think you would take your character being in the game over them
Yeah,
coming to the game.
absolutely.
In that
You
case,
know,
I definitely
so
think it's doable. Yeah, in that case, it's definitely doable. They'll figure something out. Yeah.
But yeah, I think Legion will be in the game at some point. I hope so. I would love to have him. I think he's such a cool character. He
Get as soon
really
as you
is.
beat Ray Bill, then X interviews, podcast time.
I know, right?
Then we can have all four of our characters get another interview.
Yeah. All right. Well, I can't imagine who my favorite character in the game would be. I just, I don't have my action figure close by. It's at my work office, so I can't bring it. But yeah,
According
shout
to
out.
your
I know he's on the podcast, so I don't have to do this, but shout out to Jay for designing my awesome Psycho Man inspired logo. I didn't even ask him; he just did it like for class, like which I
Yeah.
think is the coolest thing ever. Like he created a logo for me just as like a class project at school when he's doing his graphic design degree, which I think is just the coolest thing ever. Uh, but yeah, Psycho Man is my favorite character. Um, or one of my favorite characters, honestly. Like it just kind of evolved into being my favorite because people started like associating him with me, and so I just ran with it. Like, um, and it was funny. Like at first, it was just like, well, I'm just gonna pick a random character and just run with it just to see what happens. But I really do. I love him. Like I think he's so well designed. Like I tell Niv all the time when I'm in CCP, I'm like, no, seriously, I think you designed a really good character. Like, and I knew nothing about him at all. But like when I started looking into like the lore and like who he was and what the deal was, I was like, this is just a really cool character, and I'm still so mad. I was betting money that Bill Murray was going to be Psycho Man
I was
in
about to say we
WandaVision.
were
Like I was
robbed.
like,
We were robbed
it
of
would
him.
have been so great. But
yeah.
one of these
Micronauts, man.
days, one of these days. But what's up, Egg? So, but yeah, it's just such a unique character and like the whole control box thing, which kudos to Kabam and the art team. Like the the control box in the game is so much cooler than the actual control box in the comics.
Yep.
Like I've got Jim bought me the Marvel Legends figure for my birthday last year, and the control box is super lame. Like it's literally just like a gray box that says the three
Yeah.
emotions on it. The control box in the game is amazing. Like Jay turned it into this really cool logo and everything. Like it's just really cool.
Rotating pyramid.
But it's just so cool. Um, but I just fell in love with him, man. Like I love Swiss Army knife champs. Like I don't care. I don't need my champs to finish fights in 10 seconds. Like I like the game. I don't need to be over faster. Like I enjoy playing the game. Like and he can do so much. Like, he can manipulate AI and manipulate the fight, manipulate power. He can manipulate, what attacks they're using. He can heal block. He can power drain. He can power lock. Like he just does so much. Like there's just so much there. And I realized that people are like, yeah, but the numbers, the numbers, the number. I'm like, not every champ is Herc. Not every champ is Cosmic Ghost Rider. Like it's not going to be that way. Like there are different champs for different reasons, and like there's other champs that their numbers suck too, but people still like them. Like honestly, Cassie's numbers aren't that great. People use Cassie all the time. Like she can put up some good numbers, but you have to play her perfectly to do so. Like if you're just picking her up and playing her, like you're not going to get gigantic numbers out of Cassie without knowing what the heck you're doing. And Cycle Man's the same way. Like me and I just went blank on what his name is, but the other guy who has a rank 5 and ascended Cycle Man, like we've shown people, like KT put some stuff on his channel from the other guy, and like Cycle Man's blowing through end game bosses. Like he can do whatever you need him to do. Yeah, it might take a little longer, but if you don't run recoils, everything takes you longer. So I mean, it's like whatever. Like, there's room for all these champs in the game. And there's like somebody likes every champ. Like there's people out there with ranked up Groots. Okay, Groot ain't doing squat right now. I mean,
not true. He kills a lot of people in war.
Surprising.
Imagine Jim is in our chat right now. He ranked up his Groot. And Groot ain't doing nothing. I'm sorry. If you're picking Groot over Psycho Man, you got bigger problems.
He's buff immune in the sense that he's never going to get buffed.
Listen, you need to have the worst champion. You need to have a bad champion to know what champions are good. Like that's just the way this kind of game works. You have to have champs that are never gonna get buffed because they have to show you. Like it's called the meme tier, and it has to exist. Otherwise, you wouldn't know that they're. Yeah, you wouldn't feel a difference. Every character would feel just like a skin of the same character. You got to have something.
I think that they're doing a good job of bringing up the meme tier, at least.
I agree.
To like middle tier,
Big fan of a lot of them. Yeah.
Look, Iron Man was meme tier for a long time, and he's one of my favorite champs now. His buff is amazing. He's so much fun. So much fun. And there's other champs that have already been retouched before, and they're still terrible. One of my favorite comic characters of all time is still terrible in the game. His name is Sentry. Ooh. I love Sentry. I think Sentry's amazing.
On the back burner.
He's still not great in the game, but when I read the comic with Sentry and the whole like Sentry and Void thing, I was like, this character's amazing. Like it's such a cool arc in I can't remember which.
He definitely hits like a million suns. I don't know what you're talking about. He hits like a million suns just fine.
He did there for a little bit when it was bugged and he was getting his indestructible. It was awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. That actually felt like Sentry for the first time. But sadly, that was a bug. And my most hated champ has nothing to do with the character necessarily or the inspiration behind said character, because she's amazing. Love me some Daisy Johnson. But I hate Quake. And the reason I hate Quake is because this is a fighting game. And Quake is antithetical to the purpose of a fighting game, which is to attack the other person. And Quake is all based on not not going forward and attacking the other person. That is why I hate Quake. I admire anyone who has the ability to Quake somebody because it takes a ridiculous amount of skill to constantly avoid getting hit, but I believe that it's antithetical to the fighting game genre, and therefore that is my least favorite champ other than Sentry, and I only hate Sentry because I wish that Sentry was more like Sentry in the comics instead of a meme tier champion.
What's your feelings on Void though? With Void being the kind of character that kind of dances around, doesn't always want to hit and add to the combo meter, doesn't really need to do that because it's all about stacking those debuffs
But you can, like,
of course, yeah.
It's not gonna hurt you to attack, and if you throw specials, you're gonna stack debuffs too. So
No,
you're
100%.
still,
And I mean,
you know,
yeah,
so it's
yeah.
not the same. But
Oh no,
also,
no.
I
Yeah.
hate. I also hate that Void is better than Sentry because I feel like they should either be the same champ or they should
But
be
Void is
similar.
better
Well,
than
Void should be
Sentry.
better. Yeah.
Void is
No, Sentry
technically
is awesome. Y'all are
Void
terrible.
is technically in the Marvel universe, 616 universe, Void is the angel of death. Like
Really?
that's what he's
Yes, but
supposed to be.
yes, but Void is Sentry, so they should be
Yeah.
the same.
No,
What do they
he's
say?
not.
He's the host of Void.
Yeah, he's the hoist. He's trapped in Sentry because that's where he basically said.
Exactly.
I believe
You just said it. He's trapped in Sentry. So why are they separate? That's
because he's
insane.
trapped in Sentry as like a place to hold him because it's a. Okay, so basically, Sentry and
Yes, he's
Void
trapped in
are.
him. So Void should have just shown up in Sentry Special 3. That's when Void should show up. He should
Void
become
is
champion.
Void is Eclipso. Void is Eclipso in the DC universe. He's this like angel of death thing that was
Yeah.
punished and forced into a weaker. So Eclipso is
Fair
put in a
enough.
black diamond, and that's
Yeah.
where he's trapped. And
Fair
Void
enough.
is trapped in the human body, which then takes a lot of pills and drugs and drinks a powerful super soldier serum, and then gets the power of a million suns. But also
That's
has
awesome. See how much cooler Sentry
Cool.
sounds
He
when
should
you
be
describe
cool,
him
yes.
than what he is in the game.
He's such a cool character.
I'm changing my answer to Sentry. You've riled me up.
I'm all for having a better Sentry. I mean, I definitely think that anything with mental illness should be worked and mental health.
Yeah.
And Sentry is like the poster child for mental health issues. And I think it'd be wonderful to see a character be representing the game with more of that kind of stuff. I think it'd be wonderful. We're running a little long, so I'm going to get to mine really fast.
Yeah, get to yours real
Let's
fast
do
so
it.
we can wrap up.
So I wonder if people can guess what my favorite character is, and my champion and comic book character, and the person that I have a little altar to in the basement. It is the Black King, the King in Black. It's Knull. I have a deep appreciation for this character. There's something. So I'm going to give you guys a little depth for myself. Struggle with mental health. I've been doing great for years now, but it is something that I very much actively work to fight every day. And one thing that sounds wonderful is quiet sometimes, just having a little bit of quiet. And Noah was woken up from quiet by the start of the universe. He was in between two eternities, whatever. And the Celestials come charging in, making a bright light and making life. And Noah just wants to go back to sleep. And I can totally relate. Can't y'all relate? Just like, turn off the light, give me a couple more centuries. But he comes out and he just immediately snipes out a Celestial. And I remember reading that for the first time and just going, oh, this is the guy, and he's just intimidating and terrifying and powerful. And like up until the end, which is honestly kind of cheesy, out of the burst of light in Silver Surfer comes down after Knull had literally won. Just a little, okay, it's a little contrived in my opinion. I think they stole the victory from my dude, but I love him. He's a perfectly designed champ. He's a cosmic that doesn't need buffs. He does all his damage that he needs to do through, stacking a debuff that if you know how to properly do it and you've done the math, you know exactly how many armor breaks you need to put up and you can handle it. Thank you, Jem. I just saw that. Thank you. I think that he's a wonderful character, and I think that in the game, he's still something that scares most people to fight. And then on the other side of that, I would say Hercules is my least favorite. And this is not a meme or a joke. It's real. And it's because I don't think our Hercules represents the comic Hercules. Comic Hercules is kind of a goof. He's fun. He's silly. And I mean, we get the emotes. But he's not the most powerful god character in the universe. And I think that having him immortality, first of all, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of the Masters of Evil. Hercules is not technically that immortal. Like, he is, but I mean, fighting through, I'm pretty sure I saw a comic panel where the dude's laid up in the hospital because he's been destroyed by Mr. Hyde and a bunch of other really evil people. And I just think that Hercules is... I think that we put too much weight on that character, and I hate what it does to the community. I think that it separates those who want an easier time of it, which is totally understandable because this game is very expensive. And on the other end of it, those who don't want that and want to challenge in a different way, there's just this argument that goes on and on and on and on. And honestly, I don't care if they nerf him or don't, or buff him. I don't care. I really am getting tired of the argument.
The game would implode if they buffed him. Get out of here.
Well, I mean, honestly, if they, if they consider taking away that immortality,
would lose their mind.
But take away the immortality and change it with something else, and give it something else that works differently, but could be considered a full offensive buff. Because really, I think
it's not pause while you're attacking.
I think immortality was originally supposed to be there more for defensive. And I don't think they realized the mistake they made by giving us the ability to extend it for as long as it was. So honestly, yeah, nerf it. Take it away the ability to extend it for that amount of time. You still get a mass amount of bursts, and it costs a couple more revives. But honestly, I just don't want to have the arguments anymore. Now, on the other character that I really, 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 really don't like real fast. So, like, I personally am kind of aggravated just because of the fact that I thought the symbiote Iron Man suit was supposed to be really, really awesome. It was so cool in the comics, and Superior Iron Man is garbage. And he's the worst character in the game. I've tried to make everybody work, and I am the most positive person, and I can't make that dude do damage. So, you can say Groot, but I've never died to Superior Iron Man. I have died to Groot. Regular old Groot has killed me many times because that dude shrugs debuffs, and he has unblockable specials at times, and he's a dick. And that's my opinions, and I'm sticking with it.
That's fair. Alrighty, well, we've gone a little bit over, so we should probably wrap it up. But thanks everybody for joining us for our debut episode of the Summoner's Circle. Our plan is to be here every Wednesday, and we got some other exciting things planned that hopefully will come together in the future that I think will be really, really cool. So until next Wednesday, thanks for joining us, everybody. Once I get the video together, it will be up on my channel, and we'll be streaming live on Jay's channel every Wednesday when we record live. I may need to tell people not to join the voice chat and just listen on Jay's stream and jump in the chat, but we'll figure that out. I thought it was pretty great first run.
Yeah.
Anyway,
great time.
Yeah, you guys loved it.
Here, it's fun. I really wish that Slayer would have accidentally had his
camera
my
goodness.
So we could have been the face reveal of Slayer, because that would have been just the best way to start the podcast. Look, we have the first look at Slayer's face.
But let's be honest, we all know if the camera had come on,
it
would have been him in the outfit. He would have been in the cosplay. It would have been him just sitting there with the skull on and just been like, "What's up, gentlemen?" And we've been like, "That's right."
Yeah, that's
the pure darkness and a flaming face.
That's the biggest plot twist, is that Slayer literally has a flaming skull head. And,
I truly believe it.
Wait till Vancouver, man. We'll see it.
Next year in Vancouver, or this year in Vancouver, I guess we will finally find out. Either
Yeah.
he's gonna be wearing a Mysterio fishbowl on his head. We'll never
Did you
find out,
guys not?
so.
Did you guys not see where I think he's gonna start? I think we're all gonna start making a collection to help him get that really awesome cosplay made.
Dude,
Did you guys see that one on Twitter?
that was
We
insane.
reposted?
Dude,
That was
yeah,
insane.
Oh
it's insane.
goodness, that thing was beautiful.
All right, everybody. Well, we're gonna wrap it up for this week. Next week we will dive into Dust and Ironheart's kits, and we'll talk narrative roadmap, and that'll be super fun because
Oh yeah.
we'll find out how many of Jay's predictions are right, and spoiler alert, probably most of them.
We'll see.
But we will jump into narrative roadmap. We will talk about kits and whatever else we come up with to talk about.
Have fun doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen. Really enjoyed it.
Have a wonderful night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Peace out.